This is video number 5 out of 7 videos in this series. Please be sure to watch the others. When it came time to clean the flues in the fireplace, this is the kit that I used. And the kit included 10 of these 3-foot resin poles. It has a bag for storage. It has an Allen wrench. On one end is a regular Allen head, and then on this end is a pointed tip. You have this piece here that's to put in your drill, and then you have this spider looking thing. And so there are a total of 12 of these twisted nylon strings, and according to them, being twisted makes them, or allows them, to remove more soot from your fireplace. And in this case, so there's 3 sets. They're 18 inches long, and then they are crimped into sets of 4, so a total of 3 sets of 4. There is a Allen head bolt right in here that when you loosen that, it allows you to remove these pieces, and I'll show that here. What is not included is a drill, and you can use a battery operated or a corded drill. I've got a mask, and then I've also got these gloves. And I would highly recommend that you do wear a mask. I would recommend that you wear a good set of gloves. You don't want a set of gloves that's going to bind up while you're holding these poles, because if your gloves do bind up, you could potentially twist your fingers. I don't know that you'll actually cause any damage to your fingers, but you'll definitely cause your fingers to get rolled up on the pole with the gloves, depending on the gloves you wear. All right, I am not endorsing this kit for cleaning your flues. I bought this just to try it out to see how it would work. I do know that in using it, it did remove quite a bit of soot. But I honestly don't know how well of a job it did. You would have to run a camera up and down the flues before, and then up and down the flues afterwards to do a comparison. And in my case, I did, and it was just really hard to tell how good of a job it did based on the amount of soot that did show up at the bottom of the firebox. From doing this, I could say that it did an okay job. I can't say it's like an excellent kit or anything like that, because I honestly just don't know. This is all soot from cleaning the flues, and that's the filter that used to be white, complete cover of soot. One thing I forgot to mention is, besides the gloves and the mask, you do want to have a good set of goggles. And when I say goggles, I mean goggles, not just protective eyewear. You need something that's enclosed, because the soot will get everywhere, so just be prepared for that. This is one of the resin poles, so when you start, you would push this little button here and then lock it in here. You would put this piece into your drill and then attach it, and then as you go, you would just attach additional pieces. So in this case, go like this, it's locked on. And then as you're doing this, the reason why you want to have the gloves is because you need to have the gloves to guide these poles where you want the brush to clean, because if you're just shoving the brush up inside the flues without guiding it, it's not gonna get everything. There are 10 of these rods, which gives you a total of 30 feet. These pieces can be removed and purchased separately. So you take the Allen wrench portion, stick it in there, and then place it in there, and there you go. And these are 18 inches long. Definitely want to make sure this is tightened down pretty good. So I'm not 100% sure that you can buy these pieces separate, where there's 4 strings crimped down, or if you have to buy the entire ball. I want to say when I was looking this up, I kept seeing this whole thing as one, but it would be great if you can buy these strings separately. On our house, we have 4 flues that come out at the top of the chimney, and we have a total of 3 fireplaces. So 4 flues, 3 fireplaces. So up in here is a loft that has a fireplace that has 1 flue. On this floor here, we have a large fireplace that faces that direction, and it's got 2 flues. And then there's, in the basement down here, there is 1 flue. And I bring that up because not all fireplaces are the same. So the number of rods you may use may be different. This kit right here is not specifically designed to be used from the top down. This one is typically used from inside your firebox going up into your flues. And as far as going into the flues, you can start with a short rod and work your way up, or you can put all the rods on for the length that you believe your flues to be, and get it to start somewhere near the top, and then remove rods as you bring it down. You don't want to use this kit going from the top to the bottom, because if you're up there using it, and which even when you're doing it from inside the firebox, these will become loose on your drill and fall out. So it will actually be worse if you're doing it from top down. It's better to do it from each of the fireboxes and work your way up. It's a good idea to know how long your flues are, because in our case we have 3 different lengths. 2 of the flues are exactly the same length, and then the other 2 are different lengths because of the way that they're routed to fit within the chimney. But the biggest thing is that if you're doing from the top to the bottom, if these come off, whether you're starting with short length or long length, it may come off the drill more frequently than if you were doing it from inside the firebox and working your way up. When you do use these, the gloves that I showed earlier, you want to use something similar to that allows you to hold the rod with a gloved hand while you're using the drill to turn it. And using a good glove will allow you to manipulate where the rod is going, because you can't just stick it in there and think that it's going to get everything, unless you happen to have very skinny flues. In our case, this cleaning brush will not touch all 4 walls of a flue, so you do have to get it to you got to manipulate it to move it around to clean the flue as you go. If you're working from the firebox and you're starting with a short rod and then adding rods to get towards the top, or if you add all the rods initially and start from the top, work your way down and remove rods, the one thing you do want to do is, definitely make sure you have your goggles on, have a mask on, have your gloves on, and then also, I don't have it here, but you definitely want to have some plastic to seal off the area, because if you don't think the soot is going to get all over the place, just wait, because it will definitely get everywhere and you will have no idea how it got all over. In my case, I did use a vacuum and I kept the end of the hose inside my covered area, and I still had soot all over our living room, especially our living room. And I didn't mention the vacuum previously, but it is a pretty good idea to use a vacuum because it helps using the flue cleaner. The vacuum actually helps get the soot out quicker so that you can actually see what you're doing for the amount of time that you can actually see what you're doing, because in most cases you're not going to be able to see all that you're doing. And that's the unfortunate part of using one of these, is unless you go in with a camera before and after, you're not going to really know how well you cleaned the flues in your fireplace. We had to do this on 3 flues: the living room, the 2 flues in the living room, and the 1 in the loft. And the loft is pretty short. The 2 in the living room are pretty long. The reason why I bring that up is this was only used one time, but it was used on 3 separate flues, and I can already see that the lengths of these strings are already different lengths. They were all the same length when I started, and I can also see some splintering of the material. So I'm not 100% sure how much longer. I mean, I may be able to go 1 or 2 years, I'm guessing, unless these things, start dry rotting, because I don't know whether they'll dry rot or not, because I haven't had them that long. But if they start dry rotting and then I go to use them, they could, completely shred up and become completely useless. So what I will do is make sure that I either order the entire thing or I order some additional string so that I have it when I need it, because you never know when these things will just break up and be unusable.